Hey y'all, welcome back to the Sim Twins. My name is Brooke, and today we are doing another speed build. So this speed build is actually a shell challenge build from the Simmer group chat, and the Simmer group chat is a really awesome community of Simmers, and we have a Discord channel, and we talk about all things Sims, and this is the shell challenge build for this month, created by Psycho Simprano. And what I decided to do was I decided to take this shell and turn it into an aquarium because I thought that would be a really fun challenge, and I've never done something like this before. But before we get too far into this build, please hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you know that every single time we post a video. That is just so encouraging to us that you are subscribed to our channel, and we love you all so very much. But let's get into talking about this aquarium. So I tried to figure out how I was going to do this, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to have huge windows where your Sims could see into the water and see what was going on with all of the fishies that were swimming around. So what I did was I turned the first floor of the shell into a basement, and then I just copied down the second floor. So this shell actually has 3 levels now, but I mean, I didn't change any of the walls. I just copied and pasted the second floor to the first floor, even though it was originally the 3rd floor, but now it's the second floor, the first floor and the second floor layout, because I put the first floor in the basement so you could have those big beautiful windows looking into the aquarium pool. And I wanted to try and do something fun with the roof, but I wanted to do a lot of curves and make it feel very nautical, but it just turned out looking really weird. So what I did in the end was I made this as classic and modern as you could potentially do. I put just those half walls up there, and you'll see that later, but I put a ladder to the top, so you get to have access to the roof. And up on the roof I put that really big telescope because I turned this lot into a museum lot, so I had to put in very specific things to make it fit into what they call a museum. But I mean, having a telescope is not part of the museum thing, but I thought that it would be fun to have that telescope up there because they're really big, and I don't like to put them in other kinds of builds because they just, in my mind, they don't really fit. If you're building a house, who in the world would have such a huge telescope like that? I want just a regular sized telescope. If the Sims 4 team can give us just a regular sized telescope that people in real life would actually have at their homes, maybe then I would use telescopes more often. But anyway, this is where you can see where you're looking into these aquarium places where all of the fish are swimming, and I tried to make sure that the fish would spawn in the correct location. And I actually built a lot of this build on a stream over on our Twitch channel, and you can find the information for our Twitch channel in the description below. Please follow us over there. We have a really fun Twitch community over there, and we do a lot of Sims 4 gaming, and it's just a really fun place to be. But so I actually, because I was able to do this on the stream, I was able to get a lot of feedback from people while I was building, which is really, really helpful. And so what I was doing, the whole basement thing actually came from Tarashi Sims. When I was streaming, they said, oh, you should turn that into the basement part. That makes so much more sense. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And so that's how I figured out how to do the basement trick, because I did not know that. I did not decide that on my own. That was definitely because I had help from the people in the chat over on Twitch. So if you want to join that community, please go check it out. We have so much fun. But anyway, so I decided to use this really beautiful, the sunset-y wallpaper down here. And I didn't add a lot of lights downstairs because every time that I go to an aquarium or somewhere like this, I never see a lot of light or that kind of stuff, because you don't want to expose the fish to too much light. So it's usually a darker location, and usually the lights are kept to a minimum. So I try to keep the integrity of that in my build. But now you can see here again, I changed the roof line, so it's just that modern roof line, because it just was not working out with what other kind of roof line I wanted to do. But yeah, the smaller part of the roof will be where that telescope is, and there's also just a couple of benches up there that you will see later. So there was some stuff about this build challenge that I had to like keep, like this little faux balcony I had to keep because that was part of the original shell. So I just tried to turn it into something that looked nice. And in the front, I tried to do like a really cool kind of dynamic entranceway because I want the Sims to be like drawn into this place. So I added this really cool blue tile, and then I tried to use these round little mats, and I tried to make them look like they were bubbles, and they were like kind of bubbling up to the surface. I don't know if they look actually good, but I think they're kind of cute because they're just like have like and they have a flow up to the entryway, and I just thought it'd be like really fun. And this build is very modern, so I wanted to add kind of a little bit of more whimsical touches, and so I thought placing all of these little mats here in like a bubble kind of formation did that really, really well. And I added in this little planter box on the side, and I thought it was so pretty because I used all of the plants from Island Living because I wanted to give this like a very beachy vibe. I put it in Magnolia Promenade, but I think you could totally fit this aquarium into a lot in Sulani. I don't think you could fit it into like a lot that, you know, was on the beach, but you could definitely fit it into one of those lots that is over like near the main public beach access on one of the islands in Sulani. And it would definitely fit there. But I loved using this stone from Fitness Stuff Pack because it had that waves that I really liked, because like I said, I really wanted to give this aquarium the feeling of movement, because that's what I get whenever I go to the aquariums. And one of my favorite aquariums that I have visited is the Baltimore Aquarium, which is actually called the National Aquarium. And it's so awesome, and I highly recommend that if you ever have a chance to go to an aquarium and you enjoy that kind of stuff, to definitely check out the Baltimore Aquarium, because it's just so beautiful, and there was just so many fun things to see, like otters and penguins and, you know, all the fun stuff that you see at the aquarium. Unfortunately, I cannot have otters or penguins at this aquarium. It's just a bunch of fish, but I think that it turned out pretty well. And there is a cafe area, and there is also a gift shop area, because one of my favorite things about going to museums is seeing the gift shop, because I don't know, it's not even that I like to go and buy a lot of stuff whenever I go to gift shops at museums and that kind of stuff. It's just that I enjoy like looking at the merchandise, and a lot of times it's like very fun informational books and those kinds of things. So I wanted to kind of recreate that feeling in this aquarium. And so in the aquarium we have basically we have two main sections. We have the section that I want to consider like the tropical section, and then we have more that's like the freshwater section. So I know it totally does not make sense that you'd have like one open pool for tropical fish and for freshwater fish, because saltwater and freshwater cannot mix and the fish would die, but this is The Sims 4, so it doesn't really matter. So I just kind of like created that divide by putting down sand on one side and dirt on the other side. And then I went into the debug catalog, and I just had a field day finding all of the stuff from the Island Living debug, like this coral reef, and there was a bunch of just like coral stuff. There were some starfish. There were a bunch of other things that just made this place like feel really, really, really like you are in a coastal reef, and that's what I wanted to do. And in order to make the fish spawn, I had to put in fishing signs. But when I was playing it on the stream, I realized that the fish signs were making the fish spawn in the wrong area. So I made sure to go back and fix that so that the spawning area is correct if you download this, and hopefully the fish will show up in the right spots in your game. But if they don't, all you need to know about how to fix that is just go around and find the little fishing signs and then just move them around until when you're playing the game, the fish will spawn in the correct spot. But I really did get this idea from watching a video that was created by Freezer Bunny. And Freezer Bunny, I really enjoy his content. He makes really awesome builds. And one of the builds that he did was building like kind of like a barrier reef, and his was for a home, but instead of an aquarium. But I really wanted to take that technique that he did, where he built that barrier reef kind of looking build, and bring that into this aquarium setting. And then I tried to just like make it look really fun and really overgrown. And in the freshwater section, I might have went a little crazy with the different debug items that I used, but I put in like some fencing that was in the debug catalog, and I put in a lot of different just like a lot of weeds and a lot of plants and that kind of stuff. Things that, I would see like in a pond or something like that. So a lot of this stuff is probably from like cats and dogs. And there's actually a lot of base game stuff in this stuff as well, because of the fact that the world of Willow Creek is based off of Louisiana. So you get a lot of that bayou kind of Weeping Willow-esque terrain, and you get a bunch of those kinds of plants. I can't think right now what the words I was wanting to do, but you get like a lot of that kind of stuff. And I also added in these fish things, but I realized that the fish things that I added in, like the debug fish, they're all just like dead fish, which is kind of sad. So I feel really bad, because there's like, I added in a bunch of clownfish and salmon and bass, but they don't spawn as alive. They just are there, and they're dead fish, and that's kind of sad. So that's why I made sure to add in those fishing signs, so that you would have fish that spawned and they were actually alive. But as you can see, there was a lot of different fish in the debug catalog to choose from, and I just kind of like went crazy and put them all there. And it was really sad when I figured out later, when I was player testing this, that those fish are not alive. But as you can see, like I said, I added in like some fencing, and I added in some brown grass and some plants and different things. I tried to like make sure that they were plants that looked like they could grow underwater, not like things that would die underneath the water and that kind of stuff. So not many things that had I guess having to do with flowers and that kind of stuff, but mostly just like weeds and algae and that kind of stuff. But it was really, really fun to like make this section different from the coral reef section, just because I really wanted to have that stark contrast and make it feel like you were looking at two totally different tanks that had two totally different vibes to them. And it was just really fun to go about and build this aquarium, because it was just something that I've not seen a lot of simmers do in the Sims 4, building aquariums, but it's definitely very doable. And deciding to make this an aquarium out of this shell build was definitely something that I was really interested in doing, because I wanted to challenge myself in using a bunch of the different items that I don't usually use, and just make it like really fun and really colorful, and something that you can bring your entire family to and enjoy. Like I said, this is considered a museum lot. So because it's considered a museum lot, there are very specific items on here that I had to add in. That was kind of annoying that I had to add them in, but it's fine. Like it's just what it is. Like I had to add in an easel, and I had to add in like paintings and different statues and that kind of stuff in order for this to be considered a proper museum. But don't worry, we have all of the museum requirements. But as you can see here now, I am working on the gift shop section, and I wanted to use these little fences that looked like the fences that you would see if you went to a retail store, kind of so you would know where the fences were taking you and everything. But I think I end up deleting them, or no, I don't end up deleting them. I keep them there, but I just like move them over a little bit so that they're more in line with the cash register. And I put in these industrial looking little, I guess, aisles, so that you can have different things, and I place stuff on them. And then in the front, I wanted to create this kind of entryway, so I put in this little entry desk, and I put in a bunch of little decorative items. I put a chalkboard on the wall, because I thought that that could kind of symbolize, oh, when you come here, like you can look at that and you can see like what the pricings are and all of that kind of stuff. And I wanted to like put little things that you would have up at like an entryway desk that you would sign in and pay your stuff. And I also even put in a little coat rack section because I thought that would be really cute. So over in this section over here, I just take another one of these little desks, and your Sims can't actually get behind that desk, but it's really just for display anyway. Like I said, it's a little coat rack area because whenever you go to museums or aquariums, there's usually a place that you can put away your jackets and they'll hold it for you and they give you a number. And that's just so you don't have to like carry that stuff around as you go. But I loved putting in those debug aquarium, debug underwater photos from Sulani's. I thought those were really cute. And I put little hand sanitizer stuff by the door so you could come in, put in your hand sanitizer, go out, put hand sanitizer on, like, you know, always be antibacterial, killing those germs and that kinds of stuff. But it was like really fun to decorate this area here and the foyer and just to make it feel really fun. And then in the gift shop, I took these things from Island Living, the little vases and everything like that, and I put these in this little glass container because I thought, you know, these are like going to be like really expensive and maybe like they're handmade just for the museum, because I've seen a lot of museums in their gift shops, they'll have like very special curated items that were created just for their museum specifically. And so I tried to get like a bunch of nautical things. So I got these boats and I got like a bunch of frogs. I thought that the we had more aquarium-esque things, like more fish in tanks, but there wasn't really that many fish in tanks. There are a lot of fish on plaques, but there were not fish in tanks. So I used a lot of these tanks that just held tree frogs. So, you know, you can go in and you have a bunch of frogs that you can buy at this aquarium, which makes sense because there's not, unfortunately, like a part where I did where, oh, you can just see all the frogs and everything. But I put in like these, like, I guess they're like little gemstones and everything like that, because a lot of times at museums I do see like you can buy rocks, you can buy little trinkets like that. And then I also put in these little trinkets on the desk, the counter as well, where you can check out, because, you know, whenever you go to these places, like they always have stuff up there. So like when you're at the checkout, your kid will be like, I want this, and it's like 50 cents, and you're like, okay, fine. And there's also the postcards there. I tried to get a lot of the postcards that were for the worlds that had to do with fish and everything like that. And then lastly, I put in some books, and I put in that sign because I thought that was cute, even though it has like clothing. And I put in a magazine rack at the front door because I thought that that would be kind of symbolizing where you could go and you could pick up your brochures about the aquarium and learn different things. But I thought that the book displays were really fun because that's like the main thing I see in gift shops whenever I go to these kinds of places are books. They're like selling so many different books. And then down here, like I said, I was having to make sure that I met those museum requirements. So I put in that case from from Jungle Adventure. And I put in a bunch of like Jungle Adventure little statues so I could meet those requirements. They don't really fit into what I wanted to put in the museum. But like I said, I had to follow what the museum requirements were for The Sims 4. I wish that the museum requirements were a little more flexible for different types of museums that you want to do, because I feel like museums in The Sims 4 are a little limiting. So I wish that they would fix that in the future. But I went around and I added in these black ottomans, and I put in some nautical decorations on the walls. And I also put in 2 aquariums, like the ones that you get from Cats and Dogs. And I put some fish on the walls, on the plaques, and I felt really bad because they're like fish in the tanks and they're alive, but these poor fishes are dead on the wall. But then upstairs on the second floor, this is where I put in a little cafe area, and I put in these yellow chairs, and I just thought it was really cute because it looked like a cafe area that I've seen before when I've gone to actual museums, like particularly the Smithsonian museums. They'll have like cafe areas where you can buy food and you can buy ice cream, and you can just do a lot of different things like that. And I also put in some vending machines so your Sims could definitely make sure that they could go up here and buy stuff. I put in the university little place though so your Sims can eat. I don't know if it costs money for them to eat up there, because in the university settings it's free. So maybe it's free for your Sims to come up here and grab a bite to eat, which would be really awesome, because I feel like, you know, since this is an educational place, you would want to maybe like subsidize the food so that it's it's cheaper for people. And then I went and I put that telescope on the roof, like I said, so you have like a view of the park from up there and you can see all of that. And then outside in this little area beside it, I decided that I wanted to put in a little bit of a fountain so that we have like a little bit more dynamic stuff here. I put in a fountain, a large fountain spray, so when you're playing the game in live mode, that will just come up and be beautiful and have the water displaying everywhere, and it's really pretty. And I put on some lily pads and just some different decorations from Jungle Adventure. Again, I was about to say Island Living again, but no, it's Jungle Adventure. And then I just put in a little bit more landscaping on the side. I was originally going to make it a little more overgrown, but I thought, no, this is like a very classic place. Like, this is very classy museum, so they would keep everything like very manicured. So what I did in the end was I decided to just place down some more island living plants, and I put in another little fence that I had put in on the other side, and using that fence I kind of fenced in an area where I could put in some more plants and it would look a little bit more manicured. But we are getting to the end of the video and we're going into those screenshots. So once again, please make sure that you turn on that you hit that subscribe button and you turn on those notifications, and I will see you all in another video. Have a good day, y'all. Bye.